If you're on the hunt for that sweet side hustle to boost your income, you're in the right place. You see, the side hustle game is more popular than ever, with a whopping 1/3 of American adults diving into it. But here's the catch. Not all side hustles are golden opportunities. Some are just a waste of precious time. So, what's the secret to picking the right side hustle? Well, you're in luck, because we're here to spill the beans. Stick around for this video, and we'll reveal the top 7 hustles that'll never make you rich. Trust us, you don't want to miss this. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up to stay updated. Without further ado, let's talk about the first side hustle. Virtual assisting. You know, there's something genuinely heartwarming about helping others, whether it's lending a hand to an elderly woman with her groceries or clearing your elderly neighbor's driveway of snow. These selfless acts of kindness are fulfilling in ways that go beyond the material realm. However, as noble as these gestures are, they don't always translate to financial gain. Surprisingly, the same principle applies to virtual assisting. When people set out on their side hustle journey, they're often on a quest to find ways to augment their income. One of the common options that surfaces is the idea of working as a virtual assistant. It's an enticing prospect for several reasons. Firstly, it typically demands minimal prior experience, making it an attractive option for side hustle newbies. Secondly, the upfront investment is minimal. You can get started with just a computer and an internet connection, and that's a recipe for making money. Add to that the comfort of working from the cozy confines of your home, and it's no wonder that virtual assisting has been gaining traction, especially in recent years with the rise of remote work. Now, I might have painted a somewhat rosy picture of virtual assisting, but there are some aspects you need to consider. The primary issue with virtual assisting stems from its core purpose. Let me unpack that for you. At its essence, the role of a virtual assistant is to take tasks off the plate of someone else. Many individuals are juggling so many tasks that they can't manage them all alone, and that's where a virtual assistant comes in handy. However, this help doesn't come free of charge, and the cost needs to be weighed against the benefit of having more free time. For instance, it makes perfect sense to outsource your time if you can pay someone $20 an hour and use that freed up time to earn $100. But not everyone can pull off such a lucrative exchange. As a result, most people who hire virtual assistants tend to pay them rather modest wages. A quick glance at popular freelance platforms like Upwork reveals that many top-rated virtual assistants are earning $20 or less per hour. While this rate might be decent, it's far from the kind of income that could propel you into financial success. So, when you blend the quest to find affordable labor in the virtual assistant market with the inherent limitations of trading your time for money, it becomes clear that virtual assisting can put some money in your pocket, but it's unlikely to pave the road to riches. Now, let's shift our focus to the next side hustle on our list. Driving for Uber or Lyft. If you've ever taken a peek at your Uber receipt after a late-night ride from the bar, you might think that becoming an Uber or Lyft driver is a golden ticket to getting rich. But here's the reality check for all the hopeful Uber and Lyft drivers out there. This side hustle, even though it's quite popular, probably won't make you rich, and here's why. While the fares you pay as a passenger might seem like a lot, it's mostly smoke and mirrors. First and foremost, folks who drive for Uber and Lyft have to deal with a bunch of fees and costs. To begin with, they hand over a whopping 25% of their earnings to the ride-sharing companies they work for. Then, there are the car-related expenses. Drivers have to cover their own fuel, repairs, and they face a significant drop in the value of their cars because of all the driving. When you tally up these costs, it means the typical Uber driver is earning somewhere between $8.55 and $11.77 per hour. I don't know about you, but the prospect of getting rich while making less than $10 an hour doesn't look too promising. And there's another cost to consider: your peace of mind. Now, I take pride in having a nearly perfect Uber rating, so passengers like me are probably a delight for most drivers. But let's be real, not every passenger is going to be so pleasant. One hidden cost that many drivers face is the toll on their mental well-being. You really never know who you're picking up in your car. And personally, I'd rather flip burgers for $10 an hour at McDonald's than put my safety at risk driving people around for the same amount of money. So, while I'm incredibly thankful for the drivers who get me home safely after a night out, I have to admit that their hard work isn't likely to make them rich anytime soon. Moving right along, let's discuss the third side hustle, gig work. In a world where paychecks seem stuck while the cost of everyday things keeps going up, it's no wonder that more and more people are turning to gig work to bolster their incomes. Frankly, who can blame them? The fact is, many employers these days are looking for every possible way to maximize their profits, often at the expense of their hard-working employees. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm all for people seeking opportunities to make more money. However, I must emphasize that trying to strike it rich through gig work might not be the most viable path. And here are 3 significant reasons why. First, the gig economy is often seen as a means to get work done for less money. Many people in this space find it challenging to charge higher rates. The prevailing perception is that this is a way to get things done cheaply. Second, if you manage to start charging higher rates that make the gig work worth your while, you have to consider how much of a return you're genuinely getting for your time. Here's the kicker. Many freelancing platforms take a substantial cut of your earnings, leaving you with considerably less than you would have earned if you were working directly with your clients. Take, for example, Fiverr. When a user completes a job on Fiverr, they only take home 80% of the total earnings. This isn't to say it's unfair, as Fiverr facilitates your access to work, but it illustrates how it can be tough to get ahead when a significant portion of your hard-earned money goes elsewhere. Third, gig work is often inherently temporary. Most freelancers complete 1 or 2 projects for a client, and the relationship tends to fizzle out. So, unless you have a steady stream of potential clients lined up, it can be challenging to keep generating income consistently. Now, don't misunderstand me. If you're highly skilled in your craft and possess a knack for selling your services, gig work can indeed be a fantastic way to earn a supplementary part-time or even a full-time income. And the autonomy of being your own boss holds undeniable value. But let's face the reality. Most gig workers don't find themselves in this privileged position. Unless you're among the fortunate few in the top 1%, gig work might not be the surefire ticket to achieving financial prosperity. Now let's turn our attention to the fourth side hustle, tutoring. If helping a struggling student ace their exams was a guaranteed path to riches, we'd all be donning our teaching hats, and tutoring would be a household profession. Personally, I find guiding students through their educational journeys to be one of the most fulfilling experiences. I have first-hand knowledge of this because I used to tutor aspiring accountants in the CPA program. Witnessing them conquer their exams with my guidance was truly rewarding. But let's face the facts. As heartwarming as it is, tutoring isn't exactly a fast track to financial prosperity. Here's why tutoring may not be your golden ticket to wealth. First, it's a trade of your time for money. To be blunt, for 99% of individuals, exchanging time for money won't pave the way to affluence. Real wealth typically comes from one of 2 avenues: winning the lottery, which is exceptionally rare, or delivering substantial value on a large scale. Regrettably, tutoring doesn't fit into either of these methods for accumulating riches, making it an unlikely source of significant income. But here's the second issue. Tutoring lacks continuity. If you're a proficient tutor, your goal is to empower your students to the point where they no longer need your assistance. While this is a commendable outcome for your students, it's not as beneficial for you if you're relying on tutoring as a side hustle for financial gain. To make it work, you must ensure a steady influx of new students to teach as your current students move on to independent study. However, it's not all doom and gloom. There are a couple of silver linings to consider. First, online tutoring has gained widespread acceptance. This means you can tutor locally or connect with students from around the world, giving you the freedom to work at various times that suit your schedule. Second, as a tutor, you can scale your earnings by teaching groups of students simultaneously. While one-on-one tutoring might not seem particularly lucrative, The moment you start teaching multiple students at once, your earnings potential significantly improves. So, there might be a glimmer of hope for those seeking financial success through tutoring. While it may not lead to astonishing riches, it can still be a valuable and fulfilling side hustle. Now let's shift our focus to the fifth side hustle on our list: food delivery. Companies like Uber Eats and DoorDash often promote themselves as excellent ways to make money, and they suggest you could even replace your regular income. Many of these companies have simple requirements, like having a clean driving record and a reliable vehicle. But making money with these side hustles isn't as straightforward as it may seem. The main issue is a lack of strategy and planning. Scott Lieberman, founder of Touchdown Money, explains, "Many side hustles only become worthwhile when you optimize your approach to make money." In other words, beginners who don't have a plan usually end up making very little money. Food delivery through apps like DoorDash, Instacart, and Uber Eats may not be profitable if you don't have a strategy. Accepting every delivery request is a recipe for failure. However, it doesn't mean you can't make any money. Lieberman suggests that delivering food during busy times, like dinner and lunch for office buildings, is key. On the other hand, driving across town to deliver a single fast food meal can waste your time and money. Food delivery apps tend to be more worthwhile for people living in densely populated areas because they can make multiple deliveries without crisscrossing the city. Before diving into this type of side hustle, it's crucial to calculate both your potential earnings and potential expenses. Costs like gas, car maintenance, and taxes can quickly add up and offset any benefits you might gain. So, it's important to have a well-thought-out plan to make the most of it. Now, let's turn our attention to the sixth side hustle: online surveys. Becoming an online survey taker is a popular choice for many people looking to earn some extra cash on the side. One of the main reasons for its popularity is the low barrier of entry. In other words, it's relatively easy to get started. Additionally, there are several legitimate websites and platforms, such as Swagbucks and Survey Junkie, where you can make money simply by taking surveys. However, there's a significant drawback to this seemingly easy side gig. Not many people manage to earn a substantial amount of money from it. Let's break it down a bit. For example, Survey Junkie, which is considered a decent option in this space, typically pays around $40 per month to users who diligently complete 3 surveys each day. While individual surveys are generally short, the time you have to invest might not be worth the money you get in return. As Chelsea Clarka, the owner of Her Paper Route, wisely advises, you can indeed earn a bit of coffee money by taking surveys, but the amount of time you need to put in might not be worth it. In many cases, you could use your time more effectively by building a more lucrative side gig, like creating a blog or starting an Etsy shop. Sebastian Jania, the owner of Ontario Property Buyers, adds another important aspect. With surveys, there are often limits on how many you can complete in a day, or you might have to pay to gain access to more surveys. These limitations not only restrict your potential earnings, but can also eat into any money you do make. So, while online surveys can be a way to earn some extra cash, it's essential to consider whether the time and effort you invest align with the rewards you receive. It's worth exploring other, potentially more profitable side gig opportunities before dedicating too much time to surveys. Now let's wrap up our discussion by delving into the seventh side hustle: part-time work. Let's talk about part-time jobs, which often feel like the least exciting option. You're probably not thrilled with your full-time job, and adding another job on top of that can make life even more hectic. I understand that people have bills to pay, and sometimes we need to make money any way we can. However, in my opinion, working part-time is probably the least effective way to make money through a side hustle. Why is that? Let me explain it in simpler terms. If you find yourself in a part-time job, it's often because you really need extra money. There's nothing wrong with that, as many people are in the same situation. But there are a couple of big problems with part-time jobs. First, while part-time jobs can give you money relatively quickly, they don't offer much potential for higher earnings. In other words, the part-time job you're thinking about probably won't pay much more than the minimum wage. So, the money you earn from this job won't really match the time and effort you put into it, especially if you keep the job for a long time. The second problem is that part-time work always requires your active involvement. You might be okay with giving up some of your evenings to make extra money now, but I can almost guarantee that this will become a problem in the future. Do you really want to spend less time with your family or friends just to earn a little extra cash? Probably not, but you might have to if you're still in a situation where you need that extra income. That's why I believe that if you have the time and patience, it's often a better idea to explore opportunities that can generate money passively, even if they take a bit longer to start paying off. When it comes to managing your money, it's often wise to think about the long term. This way, you can avoid what I consider the least appealing side hustle option, which is working a part-time job. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you don't miss an upload and you can enjoy the excellent content I send your way.